Good afternoon, everybody. Elaine Mullally is my name, and I am absolutely delighted to be joined with Father Sean Hyland here today. Just a tiny little bit of snippet as to why I'm talking to Father Sean today. And I went to Mass before Christmas, and I was surprised, but also glad to hear that for the first time, probably in my life, that a priest was standing up speaking about something that's important to the Irish people. It's important to me, and to a lot of other people, because he actually got round of applause at the end of Mass. So before we go too much into it, I'd like to welcome you, Father Sean, and thanks very much for doing this podcast with me. And maybe you might let people know a little bit about yourself.
Sure, yeah. So my name is Father Sean Hyland, as Elaine said, and I'm a native of Port Harrington, living in Port Harrington, having lived out of it most of my life. I'm back in Port Harrington the last 12, 14 years, ministering in the parishes of Tumbleogue Road and Edenderry. And the purpose of our get together here today is that in this podcast, I want to address the people of Ireland and alert them to a developing situation in Dáil Éireann regarding abortion. And this is essentially the overview I gave at the Mass that Elaine was at just before Christmas. And that is that on the 19th of December, there was a vote in Dáil Éireann, that's the week before Christmas, on abortion. And it was voted on a proposition put forward by Paul Murphy of People Before Profit. And the proposition was to extend the current term limits on the legal time for abortion from the current 12 weeks up until the moment before birth. The second part of the proposition was there's currently a 3-day wait from the time a lady will go in and be examined and approved for abortion. There's a legal 3-day wait, a cooling off period, to give that woman the chance to consider. So the second part of the proposition was to eliminate that 3-day wait. So extend the time limits from the current 12 weeks up until before birth. It's 12 weeks at the moment, except in the case of if the continued pregnancy would put the mother's life at risk, or health at serious risk, or fatal or mortality of the child, i.e. if the child going forward would not live outside of the womb. So there are two conditions that it can extend beyond 12 weeks. They're the only conceptions currently. So the vote in the Dáil is proposed by Paul Murphy and backed by all of the socialist or left-leaning parties, that being Labour, Sinn Féin, Social Democrats. And the vote was a very, very narrow vote. It was, fortunately, it didn't pass, but it was 73 votes against that proposition, 71 for. So it was just defeated by 2 votes. Now there's 174 TDs approximately, about that in the law.
Yeah.
174. So that would mean about 30 TDs didn't vote this time around. That's important to keep that number in mind. It's fair to say the background to that vote was that Micheál Martin and Simon Harris were convenes in Misby from the Dáil on that day, or for that vote. Probably had more important things to do than rally the members around defending life. And it was left to Padre Tobin. Most will know him. He was a Sinn Féin TD who, at the time of the referendum, the constitutional change in 2019, disagreed with Sinn Féin's approach. They were absolutely supportive on abortion. He disagreed and left Sinn Féin falling into small party, just 2 members, 2 active, 2 Dáil members currently, himself and a TD from up north, Sligo. Was left into Padre Tobin to rally the votes that day to defeat the motion on that occasion. So just wanted to give that as the background to it. Having learned about that, I felt that I wanted to alert the people of Ireland to what is currently developing in the Dáil regarding that. and to such that I've said it at all the my masses around the Christmas in Portarlington, Thumbleogue parishes, Road, and even Derry parishes. And since that, in the last couple of weeks, I've learned that Ruth Coppinger, a socialist TD, but also aligns with People Before Profit, has a proposition before the Dáil currently to dispense with the 3-day wait. They've dropped the extension of the time. That would remain at 12 weeks under this proposition, but to drop the 3-day wait. Now, the background to the 3-day wait, well, just to give a broad background on there's been just coming up 60,000, it's 58 or something up to end of 24. So it's currently 60,000 abortions in Ireland recorded since the implementation of the proposition in 2019. And of that, there's 10,000 further that went forward, ladies that went forward, did the screening, and did not return after the 3 days. Obviously, they had thought about it and got the support of their family and friends or wherever, and decided not to go through with it, to proceed with the pregnancy. And that gives an idea of the importance of it and the safeguard that it is for people, probably particularly young women who maybe get into a panic, and that's their first step. But once they reflect upon it, they step back and they say 10,000 out of 60,000. So say 70,000 went forward, 60,000 over those years have had abortions, and 10,000 stepped back, did not. So it is a very important people for those women as well as for the unborn child. So my intention here today is to address the people of Ireland, certainly all Christians, and broader than that, I think all people in Ireland who have a respect for the sanctity of life from the womb to the tomb, whatever your persuasion in other matters. And as I say, that proposition is now going before the Dáil. The government have signalled that they're not going to object to it. So we can take it that it will move through, and there will be a vote on it. I'm not sure what timing would be. Have you any idea?
I did look.
It's a private member's bill, yeah.
I think it's in the next couple of months.
Yeah,
April.
that was my theory. It depends on the Dáil business, but it'll be debated at the next stage, where the government has already signalled that they won't raise any objection to it moving forward. So given that, and that there were 71 votes the last time for a more draconian approach, limiting the 12 weeks as well, we can take it that it will go forward, and with the government not objecting to it. Now, an important element in the background is, well, I'll just give you a note on one irony in that vote. That vote, or the Dáil on the 19th of December, was taken in the evening, the afternoon for the evening. In the morning of that day, there was a vote in the Dáil on prevention of cruelty to foxes. Now, I have absolutely nothing negative to say about anyone who would want to prevent cruelty to foxes. It's just the irony that 23 of the TDs that voted for the proposition to extend the time limit and dispense with the 3 days that day voted for prevention of cruelty to foxes. And I'm sure went in to the cafeteria over lunch and complimented themselves on their compassion or whatever, and then turned around and went back into that vote. So just to make that as a note, an irony of the situation. And just to say, the reason I'm making this call now is that it will come up for a vote in the next, let's say, 2 months. I'm not sure of the timing, but it will definitely come up. The left-leaning parties know that they had 71 votes against 73, and with approximately, that's only 145 TDs, there's 174 in the Dáil, so approximately 30 TDs did not vote on that day. Obviously, we're on defence, just keeping their head down and don't want to antagonise either side. So that's delicate that they're on the fence, and if the government is now signalling that they're not going to oppose this bill going forward, that signals to their TDs, because the bulk of that 30 will be Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and some of the independents. That will be the bulk of that population. And their leaders are now signalling that they're not going to object to this vote. They've stated that in the Dáil. So they'll be able to take a passage through. So there'll be no pressure in terms of whips or directions from the party leaders to vote against this dispensation of the 3-day wait period. And the only action I can think of to prevent it is I'm going to make a request to everyone in Ireland that hears this podcast to text your local TDs, all of them, and just signal that you're aware of the vote that took place in the Dáil on the 19th of December. That the votes, you well know, are a matter of public record, and that whoever would vote in this upcoming bill would be a red line for you in terms of voting for that person in the future. Now, I won't reach all of Ireland or anything like with this broadcast, but we'll only take a small few TDs to get nervous on that, and the conversation will raise in the Dáil very quickly. And I guarantee you, those that are on the fence, if they become aware that it's been monitored and that the ones we could contact are contacted, they will quickly decide which side of the fence to come down on. So that's my appeal, that you would text your local TDs and just all of them, just to make sure we cover and explain to them, you know, the developing situation in the Dáil, and whoever will vote for that will be a red line for you in terms of voting for that representative in the future. Would you would have the phone numbers off?
Well, yeah, we'll try and get a link.
Constituency offices.
There is a database somewhere, so I'll try and pull that in and put that on the link if I can.
Yeah, so we'll see to get the phone numbers of the constituency offices. I'm not looking to make this personal to any TD, but with that, all you have to do is send a text to that number saying, I'm Joe Bloggs, I'm aware of the developing situation in the Dáil, and for anyone to vote for that will be a red line for me. That's simply all you have to do or say. So we'll work to get a list of all the local TDs in a fairly broad sweep around here. Indeed.
For the country, not nationwide.
Yeah. And so
so
you can go broader than this.
Of course.
Yeah. So that's really the purpose of my podcast, as I say. It's down to the people of Ireland. It's not just a baby this time. It's those young ladies. It'll be mostly young, I imagine, but all ladies that may go forward in a panic and be considering abortion. And it's clearly demonstrated statistically that 10,000 out of 60,000 or of 70,000, if you having gone forward, decided within that 3 days not to go forward, to continue with the pregnancy. And I'm sure every one of them thanks God and is very glad every day that they did that. And I'm sure they've got marvellous support, both from their family, their friends, the community, and from the pro-life organisation. And I want to assure people from the little experience I have that do all of those women get a fulsome support, not just up to and including the birth, but beyond it as required. So just to make that appeal, I don't know if you would like to add.
Yeah, no, you've covered an awful lot of ground there, and you've covered a lot of things I was going to say. Except when I was reading, Jennifer Carroll McNeil, the Minister for Health, decided again on behalf of the government that they weren't going to object to the first stage of the bill going through the Dáil. So, as Father Sean, as you said, it has to go through other stages. So we're asking people to use this opportunity. It's a short window, but to use it to contact their TDs, let them know how unhappy they are about it. Ruth Coppinger, in her appeal, it's her proposal to have this brought in, and she says that in every other medical procedure there's no 3-day wait. Like to even pull abortion at the life of an unborn child and call it a medical procedure, and it just goes to show you the mentality of some people, you know, that they don't see this as a miracle of life or as, you know, something.
I've seen that quote from her, and I think she instanced, I don't know the title, there is a medical title, but a nose job anyway, was how she just
right past it.
That the person going forward for that that there's no illegal way. They can go in and have it done straight away. So she's comparing the life and the welfare of the mother, her mental and future welfare, to dispense with that 3-day cooling off period for them to the gravity, same decision as a nose job. Now, that's as ironic or incomprehensible to me as is someone voting for prevent cruelty to foxes and then turning around and voting to vote for a child to be extracted from the womb right up to the moment before birth, which was the original bill. But even this 3-day, I can't understand how you can even make a case with that for the welfare of the mother. So yeah, I heard her quote on that. Anything else, Elaine?
Yeah, like you said, the 3-day wait is for the benefit of the mother, which is the child, and that 3 days could be where they speak to their partner, or where they speak to a parent, or where they speak to a trust or a loved one, or they're able to find the support of bringing this child into the world. Yeah, I think again I'm going back to Ruth Coppinger, because what I can't understand is where the obsession has come. If we've seen the increase, remember, abortion was brought in predominantly in extreme circumstances, which nobody would. I don't think anybody would say the life of the mother should never be put before, or the life you put before the life of the child. So that was always there in the background, you know. But so it's brought in exceptional circumstances. Like almost over 10,000 babies last year were aborted, and it's almost as though these left parties they want the other 2,000 who managed to escape to also be abolished. And again, that makes no sense to me, because 17%, as you said, it was over 10,000 told, but 17% last year of people who had the first consultation didn't go ahead with determination. And I think that's testament to work that the pro-life movements are doing. And again, I would expect the Catholic Church
there's the four structures that are in place. Once women in that difficulty, if it is that, reach out, they find, I think, very quickly that there is great support around them. And I was really up a little bit on articles from those that promoted just in this. And I mean, they indicate no downside whatsoever, mental or physical, or any risk for they talk about how caring they are for the mother. But in all that they put forward and all the activities they have, there is nothing there to support in a holistic way the mother in that situation. Whereas on the pro-life side, I think no one's going to put a gun to their head if someone wishes to go forward.
Yeah.
But if they wish not and want some help, or can know what support is there for them during the pregnancy and after it, there's a fulsome set of support now from families and communities. I know that for sure, from the pro-life organisation and the USAF and the Catholic and other churches. And another, just alongside that, just reading in the last couple of weeks, the demographics in Ireland. I just read the article and I don't have the statistics in front of me, but we're way under the replacement rate now, the birth rate. So our birth rate means that China and Japan are in serious trouble because they had one-child policies for years. Their demographic or reducing populations now is coming into a very serious situation right away, because what's happening is there's few, if any, children being born in the last 20, 30 years, which means the population is old now, and it's a very small population that has to support the retired and the elderly and the sick.
Yeah.
It's a very small working population. And that's happening at a frightening rate now, to say, in China and also in Japan, a couple of other countries. And in Ireland, we've dropped below the replacement rate now, so that we're heading, if we continue on this demographic of births versus deaths, we're on the same, that within 15 years, we'll have a serious pyramid of a much smaller working population supporting a much larger aged and sick population. So
that's not good. I mean, we need more people, and I know that's down to a number of reasons. One of them is cost of living. lack of housing. Younger people are getting harder to get onto the property ladder. You need a roof over your head. You want to have children. So of course, so there's a lot of issues feeding this stuff, but abortion is not helping. So you have to. That's a huge issue as well. And I think we're probably going to get to quite a few people, because, like I say, it's very unusual for a priest to step forward and to say what needs to be said. Why do you think?
Well, it needs to be said because at the time of the constitutional amendment, I mean, you touch on the point you made, we were assured this was only hard cases. What was implied was this was going to be a couple of hundred cases a year at the most. Hard cases was what put up all the time, nothing else. Now, there's not 10,000 hard cases in that sense, or the colour of it in Ireland every year. So, you would think, having got to where they got to, they would not take the last little bit of buffer that's there for a girl, a lady in trouble away, the 3-day wait, so that in a panic or whatever, to take a decision that would ruin the rest of their lives in many cases, mentally and physically. And that's proven statistically. There's many articles that show the mental difficult it is for ladies to go through that.
Just one more point before we wrap up, but that is, I saw a report before Christmas. Ken O'Flynn, the TD from Cork, he had asked for stats in relation to how many babies were aborted and were alive for moments, if not minutes after abortions, and there was something like 10 to 12 of them over the previous couple of years. And that's even that, when we're even saying those words, it sounds and feels completely wrong. To think that these babies are being born, that they have life in them, and then they're left to die, because they're not, the legislation states they're not allowed to medicate them. So
well, for me it's horrific. I get it well, and because I want to address it in the broader context, but in front of God, for a country that has brought in a law that goes directly against God's divine laws, is a country that will not prosper in the long term. And if we go further down that road, we just dig a hole in that vector. I didn't want to centre the programme around that today. I want to look at the practical aspects for the women and their children and the protection of that. But at the heart of it is, or the appeal is, to, as I said, to everyone, not just Christians, everyone in Ireland that has a respect for the sanctity of life, from the womb to the tomb.
Thank you very much. Again, another call out for everybody who's watching this. If you spread it, share it to other people who you think may contact their TDs, email, phone, whatever way you have of contacting them, and let them know that this is not right. This is not something that sits well within you, and let them know, exactly as Father Sean said earlier on, that it's a red line issue for you. And if they come back knocking on your door in 4 years' time, that this would be an important factor. But it's important to get this message to as many people as you possibly can, so people understand that this is what's happening, because a lot of people won't know. So don't assume people know what's going on. It's thanks to people.
And to make it as easy as possible, Elaine will work to get up all of the numbers, constituency officers probably, for all of the TDs in Ireland. And maybe we'll come up with a form of words that you could put in your text.
We could put a sample.
We put a sample so that make it so then you have the phone number and just text. You don't even have to talk to them. Just we'll give you a sample of the word.
Yeah, we'll draft up something so you can see.
That means it's very is an effort required to turn this thing around, and it needs turning around. It's set up. It's developing. The government have stepped out of the way and said they're not going to have got to this. And the left-leaning parties know that they have 71 votes in the last time secured. And they just need to get 15 or 16 of that 30 that are undecided to take it over the line. That's where it's at. And so that's why we're making this effort to appeal to as many people as possible, just to send that text or make that phone call.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, and thanks everybody for watching. Thank you.
Thank you.